There you are, taking a tranquil hike one afternoon when you suddenly realize you were lost in the wilderness. Not knowing what to do, your first reaction is to panic. As people grow more dependent on technology and the city life, they find themselves displaced in the countryside. Through this presentation, I shall show you how to survive when you find yourself lost in Reno's outbacks, the Sierra Nevadas. The Sierra Nevada consists of a long mountain region bordering California and Nevada. In Reno, we are most familiar with one specific landmark, Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe, laying high in the mountains, draws people year-round to its rural forest region. People come to enjoy beautiful hikes, camping, the beach, and other types of recreation such as snowboarding and skiing. Though this beautiful mountain range attracts the attention of many, it is not always the serene getaway that everyone hopes for. While exploring the landscape of Lake Tahoe, Washoe County Search and Rescue averages that 30 people annually get themselves lost or injured in the forest. In times like this, the most advised thing to do is to call for help and wait for search and rescue. Even if you cannot make a call to search and rescue, someone, such as a loved one, is going to find your absence unusual, and they are bound to call for help. Wandering around disoriented and panicking, you could potentially get yourself into more danger. Staying put, keeping yourself safe, and trying to signal search and rescue is the best thing you could do. But before you ever put yourself in a situation such as this, it is always best to be prepared. Preparation and prevention are the two key factors for keeping you out of or surviving these situations. Before taking a trip up to the Sierra Nevada mountains, preparing yourself with essential gear and sustenance can be the difference in a life or death situation. In times like this, preparation is your first line of defense. Staying put and waiting to be rescued when you are lost or stranded is recommended. But what if you know that rescue is not going to come? What do you do then? Alone in the forest, having to fend for yourself to survive, you need to make sure you provide yourself with three main factors to live. These three factors involve shelter, water, and food. Shelter is essential to have when you are out in the forest alone. The Sierra Nevada mountains experience cold weather and can even have snowfall year-round. It is important to have shelter to protect yourself from the cold and other natural forces. This is because the human body can only survive at a complete functioning level for 3 hours after being exposed in cold environments. Clothing is your first form of shelter. Before entering the mountainous forests of Lake Tahoe, it is always best to be prepared for cold weather. But what do you do when you find yourself cold and unprepared? Using shrubs and other fibers that you can find on the forest floor, you can stuff the clothing you already have to add an extra layer of insulation. The idea isn't comfort, it is to stay alive and to stay warm. Building yourself a shelter is also ideal because it can both insulate your body heat as well as protect you from other natural forces such as wind or snow. In the case where you do not bring your own shelter or cannot find a cave to hide in, you can make a shelter with what the forest gives you. Using branches, you can create the structure of a hut and cover it in foliage for more protection and insulation. After having protected yourself from your first threat, the cold, it is important to find water and stay hydrated. The human body can only survive without water for 3 days before it enters a stage of shock from dehydration that can result in death if not quickly medically treated. Though Lake Tahoe is a huge supply of fresh water, you will not always have access to it when lost in the forest. When trying to find water, it is recommended to stay away from still water, such as ponds, because many times they contain harmful bacteria. It is possible to get water by locating a small creek, stream, or even chewing on plants that hold a lot of water, such as thistle. An ingenuitive technique for retrieving drinking water is collecting the morning dew you find on the floor or on plants with an absorbent cloth. Though it may feel like our bodies tell us otherwise, we can survive without food for up to 3 weeks, which is why finding shelter and water comes first. After having done so, you can begin to accommodate yourself by finding food. Getting more nutrients in your system will help you maintain and fuel your body with the energy you will need in order to survive. The simplest way of finding food to eat is by eating plants that you can find around you. Though it might not be appetizing, you have the option of eating local vegetation such as berries, the base of grass, and nuts that you can find like acorns. If you are lucky, you'll be able to find cattail on the lakeshore. Cattail is very nutritious and resembles celery, which is why it is referred to as survival celery. While out looking for food, it is important to be precautious if you do not know what you are about to eat. Indicators of poisonous vegetation include plants with milky sap, shiny leaves, umbrella-shaped flowers, and things with a bitter or soap taste. You can test if something is poisonous by rubbing it on your lip and waiting around 8 hours to see if it causes an allergic reaction. Now that you know how to provide yourself with essentials for living out in the forest of the Sierra Nevada mountain range, there are also other things that you could do to better your chances of survival. Building a fire can serve you many purposes while out in the forest. It can serve you for warmth, boiling water, signaling a search and rescue team, or nearby people as well. There are various techniques for getting a fire started. The easiest of them involves using a match, but that's if you came prepared. Otherwise, you can use different methods for starting a fire, such as rubbing hardwood on softwood, creating fire from friction. It is even possible to use ice or glass to refract the sunlight and light tinder on fire in that manner. In the forests surrounding Lake Tahoe, it is not uncommon to see wildlife. In the case that you find yourself in a face-off with a large predator, such as a bear or mountain lion, the best thing to do is walk away. While facing the animal, slowly back away, and if necessary, try to make yourself look big. Keep backing up slowly until you know that you are out of harm's way. After having established yourself and securing you have everything necessary to live, you can now wait to be rescued or look for your own salvation. Getting familiar with the area that you are lost in, you can begin to explore and search for salvation. When doing so, it is recommended that you continually track where you are by recognizing different landmarks or marking your path with things such as a pile of rocks. Using survival skills, you can try to look for civilization by doing things such as following a stream downhill. If you know which cardinal direction civilization lies, you can use the stars to guide you in that direction. The Big Dipper is an asterism that points to the northern star, and from there you can determine which direction would point where on a compass. Before you take your next hike up to the Sierra Nevada mountains, take in mind all the things that could go wrong, and be prepared for them. Though you expect a nice getaway at Lake Tahoe, it is best to be prepared for the worst. Hopefully, after watching this video, you have a better chance of surviving in the rural forests of the Sierra Nevada.